Calling the meeting to order at 6 p.m. Welcome, everyone. My name is Steve Sally. I'm the chair and serve as presiding officer over the Community Services Commission meeting. In consideration of others and the business connected tonight, please silence your phones and any electronic devices, and please refrain from speaking unless recognized. If you are in attendance and wish to speak during public comment or public hearings, speaker cards are located in the lobby area at the rear of the chamber. Please fill out a card and submit it to the recording admin before the close of the public hearing period. Again, this is a public meeting for the community of Glendora. We appreciate and respect your participation here this evening. Roll call, please.
Thank you. So at this time, I would like to request and conduct an oral roll call vote by calling present, Commissioner Burrell.
Present.
Commissioner Kayumjian.
Present.
Commissioner Louis Porcher is absent. Vice Chair Gerber.
Present.
Chair Sally.
Present.
Let the record show 4 are present.
Thank you. Pledge of Allegiance. Commissioner Burrell, will you please lead us in the pledge?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Reordering and additions to the agenda. Does anyone wish to reorder or add to our agenda? No? All right. Public comment. The public comment period is open. At this time, I'd like to invite members to speak to the legislative body. Speakers are limited to 3 minutes, speaking once on both on and off topic agenda items. If you're in attendance, please fill out a speaker card and submit it to the recording admin before the close of the public comment period. Once recognized, speakers should advance to the podium, state your name and the subject matter you wish to discuss. Do we have any public speak comment cards?
Just the one that I
Just the
handed
one.
to you.
And Gonzalez.
I give that to you. Good evening. My name is Susie Gonzalez, and I am here to propose to lease 1803 Big Dalton Canyon Road Cabin. I'm sorry, I'm a little nervous. I'm an outdoor educator locally, and we use a lot of the Glendora trails. I'm also part of the Glendora Trails Council and the program coordinator for the San Dimas Canyon Nature Center. I would like to propose a lease to the City Council for our organization and for the benefit of the community. We teach responsible outdoor recreation, and we also teach environmental education. We have a gear library for anybody that wants to use it, really. We have backpacking packs, we have tents and sleeping pads and sleeping bags, and it is, we feel it's our duty to teach people how to get outdoors responsibly. We know what just happened in the canyon, or I'm sorry, in the mountains, and that is something that we're passionate about preventing in the future. So the majority of our students, we've hosted about a couple thousand students in the last 2.5 years. We are a nonprofit organization, and we would like to bring a sense of community back to that cabin that's been sitting there empty, and it is beautiful. I do have donors who want to back me up on this, and we're just really excited for this and want to see if it's an option.
Thank you. When you say students, what are we talking about? Teenagers, or is this for adults? Or
We host kindergarten through 12th grade. Most of our students right now are homeschoolers, so we have classes throughout the week. Right now, we're in Big Dalton on Mondays. We also lease the space for night hikes, campfires, and such like that. So, but we do want to open it up to like hosting adult groups as well as maybe after-school programs and maybe even different communities or community gatherings like the Glendora Trails Council.
Any other comments, questions? No? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have any other comments or anyone online?
No, we don't have any.
All right. Then at this point, we will close the public comment period. Commissioner statements and reports. Let's start with your.
Great, thank you. Good evening. A report from the Glendora Trails Council. Last month, the council took their summer break, so I don't have a lot to report. Just the dates that had already been announced for the hikes. So the last summer hike is August 31st, which will be at Little Dalton Canyon. And then the fall hikes will begin September 28th at Colby Dalton Trails, and then October 26th at Big Dalton Canyon Trails, and on November 30th at South Hills Wilderness Area. And the last thing is also the Glendora Trails Day will be November 2nd at Big Dalton Canyon at 8 a.m. And that's it. I'll have more to report next month. Thank you.
Okay, so I have our unhoused update, and it's a little bit of an overview of since May of 2022. I need the font bigger on this. Okay. So since May 2022, when the city entered its contract with Lakota, 30 households have obtained permanent housing, many various ways, including Section 8 housing vouchers, using their own earned income, and then finding a unit with the help of our staff, and then or reconnecting with family members over multiple conversations who eventually welcomed them back. 47 individuals have obtained interim housing with case management support to make progress towards a permanent solution. 23 have been connected with substance use treatment services, and over 166 have received some sort of health, medical or mental health services obtained with the help of the city staff and the contracted services. So just a little overview of the last 2 years for us and some big numbers there. Yeah, that's my.
There we go. Thank you. So for myself, I'm here to talk a little bit about the T4G program, the Teens for Glendora, who happen to be here with us tonight. So I'm not going to go into too much detail because they will be presenting to us a little bit about what they do. They last met August 29th, right? I guess the second week after school started. Their next meeting will probably be sometime next week, if I'm not mistaken. One thing that I will share, today I had the pleasure of joining Alex, who is the one from the Teen Center that supervises the program. And we went to Glendora High School today and met with the ASB program there, talking a little bit about the program, what it means, how we can grow enrollment, and passed out flyers to them. They're also looking to try and gain a club on campus. There are some hurdles to go through, but we are working through what those are. I pushed forward an email to Rod Tilton today so that they can talk at their senior meeting about some of the issues that we need to overcome in the hopes that we can. So I look forward to their report and who they are a little bit later on, but that's my report.
Thank you. And I can catch everyone up. The Sports Council met last week. GYS Soccer is going strong. They have almost 1,400 players. Glendora American, Glendora National, and Lassie League are all having their fall ball leagues are underway. And all of those leagues I've mentioned already, we're struggling a little bit with the heat and the recent fire that kind of set back some activities that they had to reschedule, but it sounds like things have been solved. The Pony League, they're teaming with APU to have their skills and drills seminars, and their Wood Bat League has begun. They'll be hosting a blood drive on October 27th up at their pony field. And basketball registration will open on the 23rd. So that's next Monday, I guess. Yep, there we are. Okay. John,
I have no statement.
lost my
at
place,
this time.
sorry.
No problem. No statement.
All right, we'll move on to special items. The Glendora Community Services Foundation presentation. At this time, I'd like to invite the president of that foundation, Howard Hawkins, to speak.
Thank you. Good evening, Commissioners and Chairman. Thanks for having us tonight, but most of our members are on your dais already. Anybody, others in the audience? Eddie and David are strong members of our group. I don't want to do that. You do that part. Megan makes this great presentation every year, and I'm never organized about it, and she's always prompting me. This year I got an advanced copy, so I'm trying to do a better job. We are your fundraising arm, basically. We raise funds to support the Community Services Department, the things that you oversee. We try to earn money to support those programs. That's our main function. We have a rather small group. I think there's 7 or 8 of us. Yep, not a very big group. We're always looking for more people. So if anybody's interested, please feel free to contact us about joining. Some of the programs we support are the Yellow Ribbon Banner Program. These are for active military members. We have banners on Grand Avenue and Route 66. There's currently 78 banners up to support those people. And then once they leave the service, they get their banner, and we have a ceremony where they get their banner. So it's a very nice thing. David has come up with a suggestion for a Community Service Youth Award. And so we haven't started that program quite yet. We're working out the details, but the hope is we're going to be able to donate some money to people that support the Community Services Department, children or teens. So we're looking forward to working on that. Glendora Banner Program, we run the banner program. So if somebody wants a banner, I say it's really your staff is taking care of that. That we run that program. Our big fundraiser is coming up this Saturday. It's the 0.5K run for the rest of us, the shirt. And we're excited about this. This is our 4th year doing it. We have about 150 people signed up, and we're hoping to get up higher, correct? Whoa, yay, we're doing good. So it's our big support. It's our big fundraiser. It's a lot of fun. We have a live band this year, which is going to be fun. We were going to start on the steps of City Hall and walk up to that empty lot. So it's not real strenuous. So anybody like to come out, we will. And I think there's going to be paramedics on hand in case you have a problem. But it's a fun event. It's fun to do. We were trying to think of a fundraiser, and we've kind of hit on this silly thing. I get a lot of credit, but I didn't come up with the idea. My daughter actually read about a town in Texas that does that, and so we started doing this. So, but I'm not going to tell anybody out loud. I'm going to take the credit. One of our other programs is called Stuff the Bus, which happens at Christmas time, where we stand in front of Kmart and where else do we? Where? Walmart. Sorry. See, you gave it to me ahead of time. I still screwed it up. Anyway, we stand there and request presents for be donated, and then we call Stuff the Bus because we put them in a bus, and then at a night, families come that can't really afford presents for their children, and we give them to them. And then there's a Boy Scout troop that wraps them for them if they want. So it's a great event, and it's very moving, as David will testify to. One of our other fundraisers is we play a silly round of golf down at Glen Oaks down there. It's not for golfers. It's for people that just want to come and have a beer and a hot dog and hit the ball and play around like that. So again, you all invited to do that because it's another one of our fundraisers. Current recent accomplishments, we've donated $500 to the Glendora Lassie League 10 and under All-Star team as they headed to the Nationals in Salem, Oregon. How'd they do? Anybody know? Oh, see. That's your department, isn't it?
It was two years ago. It wasn't this past season.
Oh.
It was the season before.
Oh. Oh, okay.
But not where we donated. I think this was the one where they came, and I think they came in the second or third. Yeah.
Okay. We've also donated 2,500 to that Stuff the Bus toy drive. We've purchased 4 paddle saddles for the pickleball courts, and I'm actually taking one of those classes right now, and so I appreciate you having them out there. And tonight, we're going to further make a donation. Do we want to do that at this
Yeah.
time? David's been instrumental in this program, and so we're going to make a donation to the T4G organization. Come up, please. You want to talk about it, David?
Service award that we created, we decided this past year that we wanted to donate to World Group for all that feel that it's imperative for us to award, recognize those that are giving back to the community that are not necessarily being identified. So on behalf of the foundation, we want to award you guys $1,000 for your bank and to use as you guys see fit. To do other great things and to have fun for the next few years. So.
You guys all want me to head up there? Quick picture. You want it? Okay.
Kids in the middle.
Why don't you let me take a picture of you both? Oh, please don't. You're gonna see my shoes.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Leah.
Howard, get in here. 'Cause you're not really-
You going on it? We'll make it. Go.
You're very welcome. Congratulations. Thanks, guys. Good job, guys.
So that concludes my presentation with Megan's help, but I'd answer any questions you have. Oh, I would like to really thank your staff. This is a great staff and they're so supportive. John on down, everybody does such a great job, not for only our organization, but in general, it's been my observation. So you should be publicly acknowledged. So questions for me? Thank you very much.
Thank you, and we'll see you on Saturday. Right, next up, we have a Measure Z informational presentation. At this time, I'd like to invite City Manager Adam Raymond and Mayor Mendel Thompson.
Sure. Thank you for allowing us to come. And I just want to add one other thing to what Howard said. You can give a check and you can get our tax write-off. So I want to make sure that people that are watching will know that. And that is important. Am I on or not on? Okay. Just real quick, I wanted to make sure that everybody knew that there's going to be a Measure A that you're going to be able to vote on. The county is going to push that and is doing that now. And what that will do, if it passes, it will raise sales tax. And the council does not like that. And we certainly don't like the fact that if it's passed, that the sales tax that we pay will go into a deep, dark hole that the county will never tell us where it's being spent, and we won't get any of that back. So we have come out with Measure Z. And in short form, we would like to ask that people vote no on A and vote yes on Z. The reason Z is important is if A does pass, and we think it's going to, then that sales tax hike, if Z should pass, will stay here. And I think that we have shown as a city that we are a better steward of keeping sales tax here and using it for officers, for parks, for streets, and a lot of other things than what the county will do. Council took this up, and it was a 5-0 vote to support that. And I am going to be on that as supporting that. And so I'm not just talking the talk, I'm walking the walk. And so we just want you to know that, and we hope that friends that you have, you can encourage them to once again vote no on A and yes on Z. One other thing is, if A does not pass and if Z should pass, the sales tax will not go up. Okay? If A should pass and Z does not pass, the sales tax will go up, and we won't be able to keep that part here. So it's a complicated thing, but it's really not, if you vote no on A and yes on Z. And with that, Adam will, I think he has a handout or something, but he can unpack it. All right? Yes.
You have a clicker? All right. Good evening, everyone. Thank you very much for having me. As the mayor was able to provide you a little more of the political perspective, I'll walk you through a little more of the sort of the mechanics of the measure and why it is the city council reached the action that they did. Well, I'm not going to read the ballot question behind me here because it's lengthy and procedural in nature. It does talk about that if Measure Z passes and the city's able to retain the revenue, it's about $3 million a year that would come to us. A little more on this amount here shortly. The argument in favor, and I will just note, there's no opposition to this measure that was registered here. The opposition in favor, and I would invite you all to read it. It's pretty powerful in what it says and the city's responsibility and accountability that we had in Measure E as well. I think those of you on this body have been to quite a few ribbon cuttings of parks and other areas that John and his staff have done remarkable with, and some of those are with Measure E. And so in favor is the entire city council, some previous mayors, including our Citizen of the Year and the chair of the school board, as well as our chamber president and CEO. And I think it talks to the robust support and understanding of what this could mean to our community. As this body knows very clearly, the city has paid for, mostly out of our own pockets, a pretty robust homeless service program. By way of background, Measure H in the county was passed, as many of you may know, in 2017, and that was sort of seen as the cure for homelessness. We were going to solve homelessness with Measure H. The city of Los Angeles, as you may remember, had triple H too. Lots of H's. That passed with approximately 75% of the yes vote, and it would have passed by 2/3 here in the city of Glendora as well. Everyone was trying to fix the problem that was pretty near and dear to everyone's hearts at that time. Initially, Measure H was anticipated to bring in about $3.5 billion. It was supposed to sunset after 10 years. Estimated now it's going to bring in about $1 billion more than that, about $4.5 billion. To date, since the passing of the measure in 2017, the city of Glendora has created funding for Measure H in excess of $20 million. Of that $20 million to date, the city of Glendora has received about $490,000 back. Of that $490,000, $140,000 has been shared. And Ms. Lopez, who is in here this evening, is really responsible for all of that funding and going out to get grants. And it's a ton of work and staff hours just to do it and share. But 490,000 is not the return of 20 million that we would estimate. The city spent over $10 million to date just on operational costs. We've added additional staff, including some for the staff that has presented to you before. We have additional homeless services. We've purchased 8 emergency shelter beds. We've entered into agreements with Leucadia. You've seen our van that's driving around. We've invested in additional police services. We've passed ordinances for anti-camping and high fire hazard severity zones, bulky item. The city truly has balanced a carrot and stick approach. We have robust services when we go out to a homeless individual. We can store items either in the police department if they're personal belongings, like medicine or money, and as well as the public works yard. In addition to the more than $10 million we've already spent on this, the city has spent about $6.5–7 million both purchasing and remediating a 2-acre parcel of land on Dale Road. So 17 million to date. Our return on investment for Measure H is less than 500,000. So with that as background, the mayor mentioned a Measure A, and I just wanted to take a moment before we talk a little bit of more details, as we get the question a lot, is what does my sales tax go to? And I'm sure it surprises none of you here that the state takes the largest amount. And what may surprise you is actually the county takes the second largest amount. And many of the letters here, and some of which benefit parks, they receive about 2.5%. Where I want to draw your eye to is really on the far right hand of your screen. You'll see the city's total is the lowest of all, about 1.75%. Traditionally speaking, a sales tax measure like Measure E that passed would be 1%. And the reason why Measure E wasn't 1% is Measure H that's down here at the middle of 0.25. State of California has a statutory cap on what they call a local tax of 2%. For local meaning county-wide and city-wide, so the total of the Measure H in the city there is a total of 2. But you just heard the mayor talk about that Measure A could be 0.5%, or the equivalent of a little more than $1 billion a year annually to the county. And you may wonder sort of how this all works. So this is the same slide with a little bit of extra information. And as the mayor indicated, we're not trying to raise sales tax. We're just trying to capture the amount of Measure H that was already there. So on the right-hand side now that 2% is shifted, you'll see the replacement for Measure H. The reason the county is able to go out and exceed the cap is they got special state approval under AB 1679. And why AB 1679 is so important is the county just doesn't have one bite at this apple to pass a 0.5-cent sales tax. They have 4 bites at the apple to pass the 0.5-cent sales tax. Legislation enacted says if the county passes a homelessness measure that replaces or repeals Measure H, that they are no longer beholden to the 2% cap and could go higher. In this case, it's 0.5% or 50 cents on the dollar. So Measure A, if it doesn't pass this time, could pass in the future or a different iteration of that. With the Olympics coming in 2028, the county's put significant resources. The United Way of Los Angeles is the spokesperson for the measure and have gathered signatures. And because it qualified by gathering signatures, Measure A is no longer a 2/3 specific tax. It's a general tax at 50+1. So when a measure qualifies as citizen initiative, it's only 50+1. So in LA County, with the Olympics coming and a presidential election, the prevailing wisdom is that Measure A, which is currently polling at about 54% yes, will pass. So the city council was left with, well, what happens then to that 0.25% that's out there? Do we want someone else to come in and grab it? And the answer was no. The city's done a really good job showing that if we are provided those revenues, that we can spend them in accordance with what the public deems necessary. Measure Z is a general tax, and while we've talked a lot about homelessness tonight, that information was really important to understand how we got here before you this evening. When the mayor said that we're not trying to raise the sales tax overall, I think that's accurate, and no better way to picture it than this. So if Measure Z passes and Measure A fails, your sales tax still remains at 10.25%. Because Measure Z does not go into effect until Measure H is repealed or replaced. So if Measure A fails and Measure Z passes in 2027, when Measure H expires, Measure Z will take over. The city's trying to look not just short-term, but long-term. However, if Measure Z fails and Measure A passes, your sales tax will go up. And so this is kind of the chart that's there and kind of how we drive home the point. We're not trying to raise your current sales tax that currently is in existence now. We're simply trying to take the piece that should have been ours with Measure E. So we could ask a lot, what could this be, what could this money be spent on? And the truth of the matter is, if Measure Z passes and the city starts to receive its $3 million a year, the city council is ultimately responsible for the spending of that money. Here's just a draft budget on how this could be spent. It could be additional police officers, it could be additional potholes and rolls. It could be used to supplement the funding for John's department to provide additional services or to provide for other services. Truth of the matter that homelessness and now infrastructure are the two #1 overall community concerns. This measure could help us replace some of the funding that we're spending on homelessness, so the residents don't lose those quality of life services in other areas that they're going to begin serving or losing as the city has to spend more and more of its resources on homelessness. So there is an informational item, I guess it's not on here, but city's website, pretty prominent on the headline, is Measure Z. Worked with Greg Morton today, and so he finished up a Measure Z informational video that we'll be pushing out soon. And with that, happy to answer any questions that you may have. Really appreciate your time, understanding this is a unique measure that could be delayed years, and that's not common for cities, but we're here doing our best to try to explain it. Chair, any questions?
Thank you very much. Anyone have any questions?
So we had the benefit of a 20-minute presentation on it. What, besides I guess the video or happening to be on the city's website, do you guys have planned to educate the residents that aren't, checking that all the time?
So we've been to the coordinating council and sort of all the groups associated with that. We'll weigh a mailer. The city has to walk a really fine line between advocacy and information. So similar to Measure E, if you have a group, no matter how big or how small, I get to show up and do this. So if you have a group, we went to the Sports Council. We've been to the Rotary, the Kiwanis. I think we're going to schedule to go to the Kiwanians. We've gone to the PTA President's Group. Some of the high school kids actually mentioned it in some of their economic projects, which was fascinating and good to see. But the fact is, if any of you up there or anyone listening this evening has a group they want us to come to, we'll come.
Thank you. So it's 0.5%, the 0.2, Measure Z, the 0.25%, is that added to the 0.5? Or is it on top of the 0.5?
No, it would be replacement of Measure H, which is currently the 0.25. Measure A is entirely new. The entire 0.5% would be new. That would be the increase in tax if both passed, yeah.
And then there isn't a sunset period for that.
There is not. Measure A is forever, yeah. The county learned from that, yeah.
All right, thank you.
My question is just, so Measure Z is strictly related to the city of Glendora.
It is.
And the county and the state, if we pass this, they have nothing that they can do to come after us and say, no, you can't, and you can't.
That's
do
true,
this.
yeah. So before this even got there and how it came up is several cities in the San Gabriel Valley all of a sudden started looking at this. And so Measure A, and a little bit of background, provides a provision for local funding. And we're like, great, maybe we don't have to go back out to the voters. Maybe they'll give us our fair share. And so when all the numbers came out, San Gabriel Valley represents about 20% of the population in LA County, right? A little more than 2 million people and a little less than 10 million in the county. Total funding annually for our COG and then all the cities. So the COG's another body that provides some services for cities. But if you combined the COG's funding and all the cities' funding in the San Gabriel Valley, it would be through Measure A anticipated about 34 million, which sounds large until you realize that's about 3% of the annual revenues that Measure A would raise. And how it's restricted and what it's doing, the city of Glendora will anticipate to get about $67,000 a year. We'll generate $6 million a year from that. So when we started to see it, we're like, wait a minute. So as we prepared this, several other cities, the city of Azusa has Measure ZZ, which is the same thing as this. Doherty has a measure, El Monte has a measure, several other cities do as well. And essentially, California Department of Finance Administration or the state has already blessed the language included and said, hey, between now and the expiration, if this passes, you're good. So it's really unique and bizarre that we're even in this situation, but no one can take this away from us. It will come to us. And the best part about this is the public gets to hold the council and staff responsible to make sure it's spent in Glendora.
So question is, if we're doing it, who else is doing it? And
Yeah.
why wouldn't any other city in the state or in the county pick up on this to where it
The-
would be?
The county released the proposed ordinance so late in the ball game that before, and their ordinance, I'm not kidding, is like this big. So when you start peeling back all the layers on would be, could be, and one of my favorite portions of the county is we participate in a point in time count, which tells us annually how many homeless people we have. It's an estimate. And so the county had to admit last year that it's not accurate at a city level at all ever. It's just accurate at a county level. Yet in the legislation to enact Measure A is an allocation of resources based on cities' point in time count. And you're like, well, how does that work, right? So other cities trying to gather, and really this council, when we started to brief them on what was happening, they're like, well, the public needs to decide, because the worst thing that happens is someone else passes a 1/4 cent sales tax, we lose the ability to do it, and the public's like, well, what happened? So we're going to give them the opportunity to vote on this. And so we were able to gather a couple pretty late nights working with the state and our legal team and the other cities trying to figure it out. There were about 15 cities that were going to consider it, and several cities are in a financial position a little worse than ours. So if this works and it passes, I think you'll see a plethora of them from March to November in 25.
What's the sense of polling for this passing right now? Do we have a
So,
good
we
feeling
don't-
that we're,
One of the beauties of Glendora is we don't really do polling. Fake it till you make it, right? No, so I think one of the interesting things is when you explain it, and one of the great things about Glendora is you can walk up and down downtown or go to other restaurants in town, people are having breakfast and sit down and have that conversation. People still talk to each other in Glendora. And so that really is our leverage moving forward. We're gonna talk to the various groups with the schools too and parents, and really trying to get to those various segments. And overall, people are like, I don't like this, but I understand. And honestly, that's the best we can do. Understandably, some people with anything that says tax is a no, and that's okay. And so we've told people is whether you vote yes or whether you vote no, vote and understand the decisions that are before you when you vote. But overwhelmingly pretty positive so far. I think the lack of any formal opposition speaks volumes as to the understanding of what the city's trying to do.
no, that's it. Thank you. Thank you both for sharing, because I think it's very important.
Well, and I think we've
have-
talked before that like nice things cost money, and we've seen that over, like, nice parks cost money. Nice
John's and
schools
his
cost
team
money.
and his team have nice taste, yes.
Yeah, but like, it's a nice area for a reason, and yeah, nobody wants to pay more, but if you want nice things, they're not free. The free
Now-
things aren't nice.
Now also, Adam, Measure Z has to have 66%.
Nope, 50 plus 1. It's a
Ours-
general tax. We're just trying to replace a specific tax, yeah. So if you have questions, let us know. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Consent calendar. Items on the consent calendar will be enacted by one motion without individual discussion unless the commissioner has requested it be removed for separate discussion. Does anyone wish to pull or comment on any consent calendar items?
No.
No? All right, then can we have a motion for this?
I'll motion.
I'll second.
So we have a motion made by Commissioner Burrow, seconded by Vice Chair Gerber. I will conduct an oral roll call vote. Commissioner Burrow,
Yes.
Commissioner Kyumjian,
Yes.
Vice Chair Gerber,
Yes.
Chair Sally,
Yes.
motion carries 4-0.
New business. Teens for Glendora Program Overview. At this time, I'd like to invite Recreation Supervisor Romero Valderrama and Recreational Leader Alex Rayala to report.
Good evening, Honorable Chair and members of the commission. Good thing about me today is I just get to pass this presentation off to Alex Rayala, our recreation leader. He is really the one who is working with the kids daily, messaging them, going to all the meeting. He is really the liaison and really working with them and with him and Commissioner Gerber, really working with the team. So, he gets to come back to me and ask me for, anything they ask for and kind of permission. But for the most part, Alex Rayala is the person that is front line working with this group. So I will let him and the members of the group kind of give this presentation, and I'll be here for any questions you guys might have.
Good evening, everyone. I just want to thank the Glendora Community Services Foundation again for the generous donation to these kids to really help them push through these community projects that they've been brainstorming about and possible workshops that they've been thinking about. So just going over our presentation for today, we're going to go over our members, volunteer hours, events, programs, meetings, and upcoming goals. And as Romero says, some of the kids will come up here and talk about their experience with it. With the program and at our events and stuff. So right now, we currently have 15 members that are pretty consistent throughout the year. But as the year goes on, you know, kids, they have sports, clubs, school. So usually our numbers are fluctuating throughout the year, but when summer comes back around, it's usually we're at 15 members strong and, you know, always looking to expand and get new members every day. So our volunteer hours on this chart, obviously comparing from this year to last year, right now our program hours compared to last year is we already surpassed it at 386 compared to 241. And with our event hours from last year being 238 and event hours being 187 this year, we're on the pace to surpass that by the end of the year through the great work of these kids coming to all our events and all our programs and volunteering. So with our events and programs, I would bring up Josie and Alexa to come talk about our events and programs.
Hi, my name is Josie. I'm the vice president of T4G, and I'm going to be talking about the Halloween Carnival, which was the first. It was the first event that we started 2 years ago, I think, where we established being pretty committed to this club, and it's always one of our favorites, and we're very excited for it to be coming up. And then I'm also going to be talking about Clearwaters. It is the senior home. Sorry, I couldn't think of the word. The senior home right next to the teen center that we sometimes go and do certain things like arts and crafts or tech time with the seniors who live there. And honestly, it's just really fun to be able to create connections with the people that live there and people in our community that sometimes we don't get to on a regular basis. So those are some of my favorite events and programs that we have out of the many that we do all year. So
hello, I'm Alexa Vasquez. I've been in tag since 10th grade, so I've gotten to go through these really fun events for a few years. And the concerts at the park and movies at the park are my favorite because they happen over the summer, and that's when we have like our peak volunteer members. So we get to collaborate, and I feel like it's my favorite way to connect with the community and stay updated with what's going on. My favorite part about the concerts at the park is that when the little kids come, you get to hear fun pop music, but then you also get the Beatles when the other group comes, and it's just super fun to serve food and snacks, and it's just super fun to do. And I feel like we learn a lot of valuable work skills here, like communication, work ethic, time management, and I think that I can already see it with the younger kids, even though they've been here longer than me. I see them growing and maturing throughout here, and we hope for more people especially at Glendora High School, to join us for the movies at the park that are on Friday nights, because most people are free on those days. And here we also raise money for the group by selling food, and we get to enjoy the movie. And at the same time, knowing that we're enjoying the event, we're making it a more comfortable space by providing these things. And yeah.
I'm Nathan Marquez. I am the treasurer of T4G, and we like to give back to our members a little bit by doing teen hangouts. Recently, we have had our beach trip, which we went to Corona del Mar Beach, and we spent basically the whole day out there. I would say all of us had fun out there. but we also have upcoming teen hangouts, like we have a Friendsgiving in November. And after that, we have a Friendsmas for Christmas. But we also have other events like bowling, movies, golf that we're trying to plan dates out. And we're taking polls for other events that we want to do for the teens, just for a way to get back to our teens to make this program a little bit more enjoyable if they don't fully love volunteering.
Hi, my name is Marilyn, and I'm the president of T4G. And to stay consistent with meetings and whatnot, to keep people more like motivated into coming and whatnot, we meet every Thursday, last Thursday of the month, around 3, because that's usually when people get out of school. During these meetings, we like to review past events to be able to like improve them in the future. We also like to determine what volunteers are able to attend future events and things like that. We also have a schedule presented in front of us at each meeting to review how much money we have, what events we have coming up, and what improvements we need to make and goals for our future, for T4G. And to communicate like outside of the teen center, instead of having each other's personal phone numbers, we use GroupMe, which is, it's just not to use personal phone numbers, and it's monitored. It's a monitored group chat, so we can all communicate when we need to get in touch with each other. So yeah.
Cool. Just for our upcoming goals, for this year and upcoming year, as Commissioner Gerber has talked about, we're hoping to become a club at Glendora High School and try and see what we need to overcome to fit their guidelines and policies. So we're in the hope that we can become a club by second semester, spring semester, of this school year, and hoping, from there we can start, recruiting more students. And then as for, recruiting more students, I'm currently working on upcoming dates to meet with Goddard and Sandburg's Avid and ASB schools, and hoping to, try to recruit students from middle schools before they go to high schools, because once they get to high school, you have all these club rushes and sports. So if we can get to the younger students first, and have them stay committed throughout middle school and high school, it would greatly increase more consistency with members and increasing our numbers. And then with that also being said, with the middle schools, we also have gotten permission to be on campus on the middle schools to pass out flyers, maybe possible swag to hand out to the kids that have the T4G logo. Yeah, as for workshops, I'm bringing back Josie.
So this past summer, Mary and I were able to do a leadership workshop, which was very interesting and very fun. But we've also been brainstorming other workshops that we could do just to, I guess, benefit the other members in this group, such as college applications and budget managing, which is obviously things that we need in our future. So we have been brainstorming things like that. And it's really beneficial for all of us to have access to places that we could get to learn how to do all those things. So that's really cool that we get to do that through T4G.
Along with workshops, we really want to add some community projects. One that I really want to do is care packages for a local hospital, either for patients or doctors, whoever we can provide for. These packages will be made by the volunteers, of course, and they could include handwritten letters, stickers, supplies, goodies, anything, because we know a lot of kids in hospitals can't really join out here in the community, so we want to join them. And I think this is a really fun way to get the teens together, motivated. And this is an idea I got from a club that I did at school. Like, I did this at school, and it was really great. And it was a small group of us, so knowing what we can do with a large group is just even greater. And we're still in the process of figuring this out, because with this new school year, we have new kids coming in, so we want to make sure we know who will be committed, and we can connect with a local hospital to do this. So yes, that's our number one priority right now for community projects.
And that would conclude our presentation. Any questions for the teens or me or Romero?
Real quick, I'll just like to say, just these board members are actually the foundation. I walked into an Avid class, did a presentation, and they were in seventh grade at the time, seventh grade. And they were the ones who really started this. So this is really them. They're in high school now, so it's nice to see them go. And again, we're trying to reach the middle school so we can get more members and keep it going. I understand when you get to your junior, senior years, there's a lot of things going on. So, but reaching those middle schools and getting those young members and welcoming them, they kind of really put everything in place where to be a board member, you need a certain GPA, there's an application, there's actually an interview process. That's all things that they put in place. That's not something that we're kind of forced on them. That's what they wanted as the foundation of to be a member of the T4G. So just wanted to give them an extra round of applause for all the hard work they've done. But yes, any questions you might have, we'll answer.
I don't have any questions. I just hope that you guys feel really proud of what you've accomplished, because even though we're kind of, well, maybe not David, but we're meeting you all for the first time. We've been hearing about you guys since you were in seventh grade, and since this program kind of took off again, I guess, when we were coming out of COVID. And so we have been getting little bits of information every meeting about what you guys are up to and how, you know, when you came up with yeah, you had to have a certain GPA and what you had to do to be a board member and how you were going to help out at the different events. So it's very exciting to meet you guys in person. And I know that it can feel very hard when you want to grow this and you have all these ideas and it's so hard to find the people, but the work that you have done now, while it feels like it takes a long time, you have really set this foundation that you guys will be off doing great things in college and adults. And the pieces that you built right now will still be there years later. And so I hope you feel very proud of that. I have younger kids who are my daughter's going to be going into middle school next year. And I hope that she can get involved with a group like you guys, because you're small but very mighty. And the skills that you're learning, I mean, there are very few things that young people can be involved in where they're actually driving the change themselves. So many things, even ASB and things like that. There's a grown-up in charge. But from what we hear every month, like, you guys are really driving the bus, and your grownups are there just to, you know, to do the grown-up part, but you guys are really making all those decisions. And I mean, your communication skills already are so impressive. And I hope you feel really proud of what you've accomplished, because we've seen it over time, and we're very proud and grateful that you're doing it for the community. So thank you.
That was really well said. I mean, no, I mean, I'm actually starting to tear up a little bit. I mean, I would just echo everything she said. And I think it's so great to see you guys out there at Friday night movies and things like that. And I hope your idea for care packages at hospital take off. I think it's a wonderful idea. So again, congratulations and continued success to all of you.
Yeah, again, it's very impressive what you guys have accomplished. I just want to ask curiosity, what grade level are you guys? Are you guys all the same grade? Yeah.
Me, Jocelyn, and Nathan are in 10th grade, and then Alexa is in 12th grade.
Right. Wow. So you guys thinking about college already? What are you guys eyeing?
Well, Mary and I are in the AVID program at our school, so we kind of have to start thinking about it. Sorry. And then obviously Alexa too, she has her options, but I don't know what she's thinking actually.
Yeah.
I was actually very fortunate to go to the Glendora High School College and Career Fair yesterday.
Huh.
So that was very eye-opening. But Cal Poly Pomona is definitely my top,
great.
and Biola.
Oh, great.
Perfect.
Great. I mean, you guys have such an advantage, just your presentation and all the skills you're learning. So keep at it. Great work. All right.
And I'll just-
wish you all the best.
I'll just say, yeah, I'm thrilled that you guys are here. This has been something that I've wanted to have you guys here to showcase who you are and what you do. As I said earlier, There's so many unsung heroes and youth in our community that do things that don't get identified and recognized. And I think that's our job to bring that more forward. I hope that this is a start by having you guys here, showcasing who you are, working with Alex to get a club on campus, get the younger kids involved. Everything that you're doing today will lead you to get into school, into a college of your choice. As I said to the kids at ASB today, everybody has academics, but it's not academics anymore that they're looking for. They're looking for a story. They're looking for who you are, what you can bring to the school, and what brought you to that point. How did you get there? And what you guys are doing is amazing. I'm here to tell you, and I will tell everybody, John and his staff, if you guys put your college applications and you need a point of reference, I'd be more than happy to provide a reference for you guys as to what you do. And to me, that just is that's a minimal as to what I could do. I would love to do more to help you guys grow as individuals and help out the community. And I hope that $1,000 goes a long way to do that. And also the service award that the foundation has is set up for every year. And it's an individual award typically that we are looking to have to be someone to nominate people who have done certain things within the community. We have allotted up to $2,000. We can spread it out. We can do a lump sum. We'll go through interviews. So again, you guys have opportunity to do that over the next 2 to 3 years to advance your own individual selves, but also as a group. And I'm looking forward to working with Alex to try and get a club on campus and then to actually go and talk to the middle schools so that when your meetings happen, it's not 15, it's 25, it's 30, it's 35. And to what Mallory said, you guys can come back in 10 years from now and you'll look upon the T4G program and go, wow, this is something that I started, and look at what it is today. So again, be very proud of yourselves, pat yourselves on the back. We are very honored for having you here, and keep up the good work.
Thank you. Can I get a motion to for the report?
I make a motion.
I'll second.
So we have a motion made by Commissioner Kayumjian, seconded by Vice Chair Gerber. I'll conduct an oral roll call vote. Commissioner Burrow?
Yes.
Commissioner Kayumjian?
Yes.
Vice Chair Gerber?
Yes.
Chair Sally?
Yes.
Motion carries 4-0.
Selection of the Winter Spring 2025 Activity Guide cover. At this time, I'd like to invite Amanda Sisha to present.
Good evening, Chair and Commissioners. Today I will be presenting to you the cover options for the Winter Spring 2025 Activity Guide. You will see each picture individually, and then you will see them all together at the end. Here is option A, option B, and option C. And here are all the cover options together. And I'll stick around if you have any questions.
Real quick, are they all stock photos?
They
The
are all
cards?
stock photos
Okay.
this time around. Unfortunately, Easter was scheduled for this season, but last year it got rained out.
Oh, that's right.
So they had to do a drive-through option.
That's right.
So we relied heavily on our digital media team this year to help us select some photos.
And why are they all orientated the other?
Or the, yeah, like, especially A, it seems like it's really huge.
Yes, I asked that also, and digital media team assured us that they would make that work, just depending. They really wanted you guys to be able to focus on just what photo you liked the best,
Okay.
without worrying too hard on exactly how it will be displayed on the cover, because they promised that they'd work with it to make it look good.
I say, since none of them are our kids, I say C.
That was my thought as well.
Yeah, if they're not our kids, then let's go with the nondescript one, since they're nondescript anyway. And I think A and B kind of really look stock photo-y.
I don't disagree. So I,
So then do we have a motion for cover C?
I'll motion for C.
I'll second it.
Okay, so we have a motion made by Commissioner Burrow, seconded by Chair Sally. I will conduct an oral roll call vote for option picture C. Commissioner Burrow,
Yes.
Commissioner Kyumjin,
Yes.
Vice Chair Gerber,
yes.
Chair Sally.
Yes.
Motion carries 4-0.
Recreation and Human Services Fall Special Events. At this time, I'd like to invite Recreational Supervisor Alma Villaseñor to report.
Good evening, Honorable Chair and members of the commission. So tonight I will be presenting on the upcoming fall special events by the Department of Recreation and Human Services Department. All right. So on Sunday, October 4th, 75 Glendora teens will be enjoying a frightful night at Not Scary Farm. It's I believe the annual field trip for the teens. The cost of admission is $50, which includes admission and transportation, which is a pretty good deal for the teens themselves. And they'll be able to enjoy mazes, shows, and rides before they return back to the facility. The next one would be our Halloween movie in the park. This year we will be showing Casper for the Halloween movie in the park. It is co-sponsored by the Glendora Rotary Club. The free event will offer pre-activities such as a themed Halloween obstacle inflatable, crafts and concessions to purchase for the public. The activities will begin at 5 p.m. and the movie will begin promptly at 6:30 in the band shell at Finkbeiner Park. The movie will be held on Friday, October 18th. Following that, actually, this is before, no. The 31st Annual Pumpkin Festival will take place on Saturday, October 19th at Centennial Heritage Park. Participants will enjoy an afternoon filled with activities such as panning for gold, butter churning, arrowhead making, pottery, and old-fashioned game booths. Participants will also be able to purchase a pumpkin from the pumpkin patch, and the admission will be $3 and children under 4 are free. And then the big event in October is our Halloween Carnival, which will be held on Saturday, October 26th from 5 to 8 at the softball fields at Finkbeiner Park. We will be hosting carnival rides such as the swings, I believe a carousel and a giant slide. And in addition to that, we will have lively music. We'll have a DJ on site, a costume contest, game booths, and inflatables for kids to enjoy. Wristbands will be available to purchase at City Hall or at the Crowther Teen Center for $10 prior to the event, and they may also be purchased the day of for $15. And for our T4G, they will be hosting their annual Friendsgiving this in November. They enjoy their traditional Thanksgiving spread of mashed potatoes, stuffing, and all the great holiday food in one day. And lastly is our holiday stroll and tree lighting. It'll kick off the holiday season on Friday, November 22nd from 6 to 9 p.m. at the Bus Plaza in the Village. The Recreation and Human Services Department is responsible for the Christmas tree and Santa. Strollers may enjoy a night full of music provided by the Glendora High School Choir at 6 p.m. and then the arrival of Santa Claus at 6:45 p.m. And that concludes my presentation.
Great, thank you. Just real quick, when was the Knott's?
Friday, October 4th, so it's,
October 4th. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, thank you.
you know,
Right. No, good. All right. Can we have a motion to accept the report?
I'll motion.
I'll second.
Do we have a motion made by Vice Chair Gerber, seconded by Commissioner Kyumjin? I'll conduct an oral roll call vote. Commissioner Burrow,
Yes.
Commissioner Kyumjin,
Yes.
Vice Chair Gerber,
Yes.
Chair Sally.
Yes.
Motion carries 4-0.
LaFetra Center Programs and Events. At this time, I'd like to invite Human Services Supervisor Rachel Orris to report.
Good evening, Chair and Commissioners. Tonight, I will be providing you with an update and an overview of the LaFetra Center classes, services, groups, clubs, day trips, and events. In the winter, spring, and summer of 2024, the LaFetra Center had 31 groups, clubs, and services, 11 classes, 16 trips, and 4 events. For the fall 2024 season, we have 5 trips, 3 events, 1 new service, and 2 new fitness classes. Ongoing services at the LaFetra Center include the daily nutrition program, the monthly food bank, monthly legal clinic, monthly notary service, and weekly case management services. The case management services are provided by the YWCA as well as the lunch program. Notary services provided by a notary in the community. Nothing specific. The legal clinic is provided by a lawyer in the San Gabriel Valley who's been coming to our facility for many, many years. The nutrition program has anywhere from 25 to 40 attendants daily, depending on what other activities are going on at the facility that day. From February through April of this year, we hosted the free tax preparation and filing through the AARP. This program had approximately 300 participants over 12 weeks. And it's for anybody 18 and older. It's not exclusive to seniors. Obviously, we have a lot of seniors who take advantage of it, but it's open to anybody who files their taxes. Let's see. We also are excited to introduce our newest service, case management for veterans. This service isn't quite happening yet. It's still in the works, but it'll be provided by the LA County Department of Military and Veterans Affairs. Myself and Debbie Lopez are kind of working on the MOU as well as the scheduling and all that. So hopefully we'll see that very soon. So most programs at the LaFetra Center are ongoing, including all card games, crafting groups, discussion groups, and classes. Some of the most popular activities are the nutrition lunch program, bingo, after stroke support group, bridge, ping pong, sing for joy, and Tai Chi. The learn to use your iPhone and iPhone, iPad, Apple classes remain really popular with intermediate topics such as calendars, the Apple Health app, organizing and editing photos, the Notes app, Apple ID settings, and more. In addition to these programs at the LaFetra Center, this year saw the introduction of a few new classes and a small event. The LaFetra Center has continued its partnership with Citrus College to provide free fitness classes. The spring class was flexibility training for older adults. And then this fall, there will be 2 new fitness classes provided in conjunction. Flexibility training again, but it's kind of been reworked with a new instructor and it's has like a pretty big following already. So we're really excited. That one's going to continue, I think, again in the spring. And then cardio and strength training, again with a new instructor. A new volunteer also taught chair yoga over the summer, and the fall class is even more popular with double the amount of class meetings and several more students. We're also in the process of introducing a new senior fitness class provided by Village Fitness and Physical Therapy right there on Glendora Avenue. Still just kind of working on scheduling for that, so hopefully we'll get to see that actually in the building very soon. Okay, so there were 16 day trips from January through September, like I mentioned. We visited the Bowers Museum with lunch at the Anaheim Packing House, visited Saboba Casino for some gambling action, and attended a luncheon and musical review show entitled Luck of the Irish. Later in spring, participants went on a Jackie Robinson and Dodgers history-themed tour around Pasadena and Los Angeles. Next was a visit to the Santa Clarita Cowboy Festival, the Carlsbad Flower Fields, and then the Descanso Gardens. Summer trips included the musical Funny Girl at the Segerstrom Center for the Performing Arts, a visit to the Lincoln Memorial Shrine and the Cheech Marin Center for Chicano Art and Culture in Riverside, Harrah's Casino, the Laguna Pageant of the Masters, a history and food, themed tour of Los Angeles that focused on food brought to LA from different waves of immigration into the city from over like a century of immigration and like cultural immersion. And then a visit to the open air food and artisan market, Smorgasburg, Los Angeles. Also included in the summer trips were 3 excursions to see the Los Angeles Philharmonic at the Hollywood Bowl. We saw Vivaldi's Rite of Spring, a Rachmaninoff assembly, and then Beethoven's Ninth just last week. This fall, we'll have 5-day trips. First is a visit to Big Bear Lake for the annual Oktoberfest celebration. Next is another food-themed tour of Los Angeles with an emphasis on Italian culture, art, and cuisine that has shaped the landscape of LA. There will be 3 holiday-themed tours, a visit to the Descanso Gardens to walk through the Enchanted Forest of Lights, an interactive light and music experience, a visit to the Almanzar Court in Alhambra for another musical review show performing classic holiday songs and recreating scenes from classic Hollywood Christmas movies. And finally, a visit just down the road to Citrus College to watch the Citrus Singers perform their annual show, Christmas Is. So as far as events go, at the beginning of the year in February, we had our annual Health and Wellness Fair. It had 26 unique vendors, along with services like blood pressure and blood sugar screenings, chair massage, presentations on financial planning and wellness, and a COVID booster and flu shot clinic. Following that, we had our volunteer recognition, which is our luncheon to honor the many volunteers that are essential to the LaFetra Center. This was held on May 3rd, and the Ruth Harper Award was presented at this event. The Older Americans Luncheon was on May 23rd, and it included the Older Americans Proclamation, tasty food, live music, you know the drill. The annual picnic with the Habit Burger Truck was held on June 7th. It sold out again for the 2nd year in a row with nearly 200 attendees. We changed it up a little bit this year music-wise, and we had a live band from Citrus College come and play at the event. It was really, really well received. There we go. So I have Taste of Travel under upcoming, but when I wrote this, it hadn't happened yet. We just had it earlier this month on Saturday, September 7th. This is a free event, and it's an opportunity for the travel companies that we partner with for our extended tours to come and provide information on their tour offerings for the next 2 years or so, 1.5 to 2 years. We had about 75 people at the event, which is around the same as the attendance last year. It's a really popular event, and that was a really, really hot, gross day. So I think everybody liked coming inside in the AC and learning about other parts of the world that weren't as miserable as Glendora at that time. And then coming up, we have our annual craft boutique on Saturday, November 2nd. This will include a variety of handmade goods from local artisans. We have some more food vendors this year than we had last year, so that's exciting. And it's a great opportunity for crafters and local artists to become known in the community and for the community to get their Christmas shopping done. The Salute to Veterans Luncheon will be on Tuesday, November 5th. This event honors and celebrates our veterans, many of whom are participants at the LaFetra Center. Attendees will be treated to a catered lunch and live music, and special dignitaries will provide certificates to the veterans. So this concludes my presentation. Does anybody have any questions?
I just love the wide variety of activities you have and all the trips. I mean, I think I want to sneak on board for a couple of these.
Yeah.
They're really good.
You're more than welcome.
Yeah, no, I enjoy hearing all the different things that you guys provide. It's just amazing. And then seeing the report that was just before us, all the fun things that are happening in October and November just sets us up for the holidays. It's hard to believe that we're almost there, but all the fun activities that you guys do. for the community. It's amazing. So again, great job.
Thank you. Thank you.
Can I get a motion to receive the report?
I motion.
And I will second. Yes.
So we have a motion made by Commissioner Burrow, seconded by Chair Sally. I will now conduct an oral roll call vote. Commissioner Burrow,
Yes.
Commissioner Kyumjian,
Yes.
Vice Chair Gerber,
Yes.
Chair Sally.
Yes.
Motion carries 4-0.
Master Joint Use Agreement between the city and Glendora Unified School District. At this time, I'd like to invite Recreation and Human Services Director John Aguirre to report.
Thank you, Chair and Commission. We're here tonight to give you an update on the City of Glendora and the Glendora Unified School District's Master Joint Use Agreement. She is. The agreements over the years, the city and Glendora Unified School District have entered into several agreements over decades. These agreements have served the expansion, the relationship between both agencies to the benefit of the community. The purpose of the Master Joint Use Agreement is twofold. It is intended to reaffirm the longstanding collaboration and partnership between the city and the district by incorporating all the agreements, and it streamlines and clarifies city and district responsibilities related to the scheduling, coordinating of sports facilities and fields, cost sharing of maintenance, cost sharing of capital improvements, the implementation of common fees for the use of sports fields and facilities, crossing guard services, and the cost of school resource officers. In 1962, the district and the city entered into an agreement for the purpose of supporting and promoting community recreation programs and activities. To this end, it facilitated broad access to district buildings, grounds, play fields, as well as the swimming pool. The city was granted authority to develop and improve areas with district approval. Also, it was able to charge admission or user fees for city use of district facilities. In 2001, the city and the district jointly worked together to develop the Aquatic Center. The city contributed $500,000 to this project, and the pool was made available to the city for recreation activities for 1,760 hours annually. The city agreed to reimburse the district maintenance costs in a manner of I knew I was going to mess up on that word. Proportionate to the normal and ongoing cost of operating of the pool, while also agreeing to the proportionate share of the cost of the capital-related improvements. Also in 2001, the city and district entered into an agreement to work for the development of the multi-purpose event center. This facility was developed to further support the district's educational programs and youth and community groups. While the district was responsible for scheduling all activities for this facility, the center was made available to the community no less than 20 hours per week. That really never lived up to that 20 hours. The city, we've probably used it a handful of times, and that has been taken out of the new agreement. In 2013, the city and district attempted to combine all the agreements and merge all previous agreements into a single document. Additionally, it outlines specific maintenance provisions for certain sports fields and facilities, including George Mnuchin Park, Sandburg Middle School. The agreements were never completed. Also in 2013, the city entered into an agreement with American Little League that authorized the non-exclusive use of the designated sports fields in exchange for undertaking certain responsibilities, which included the installation, maintenance, and repair of all fencing, field maintenance, watering, lining, and marking of the fields, and other general maintenance activities. The agreement was a 5-year agreement With options for renewal, the agreement was not renewed in 2018. The library. In 1970, the city and the district worked to establish the Glendora Library Authority. This was a joint venture to construct a new public library. The authority was empowered with the authority to acquire, construct, maintain, operate, and lease public library buildings and related facilities, including through the issuance of debt. In a short order, the city entered into a ground lease with the authority. The authority subsequently issued revenue bonds totaling $950,000 for the construction of the facility. The authority then entered into a sublease with the city for which the city paid rent to the authority to offset their debt issued by the authority. This resulted in a joint venture, which is the existing city library facility today. Library services. In 2019, the city and district entered into an agreement for the provision of professional library services. The scope of this was limited agreement, enabled city library staff to advise the district on selection and ordering of library books, consulting regarding library services and activities. The school resource program. In 2006, the city and district entered into an agreement with establish the school resource officer program. The city agreed to provide the services of one sworn officer of service at the school resource officer and to be on campus while Glendora High School was in session. Other duties, daytime curfew, enforcement, youth-related crimes, etc. The district was responsible for reimbursing the city 50% of the actual costs occurred during the 11-month period. Crossing Guard program. In 2011, the city and district entered into an agreement with all city maintenance services for the provision, management services for the provision of crossing guard services. They provide 14 locations where crossing guards will operate. 12 of those are for Glendora Unified School District and the other 2 serving Charter Oak Unified School District. This was a 4-year agreement with another 4-year extension. Out of the 14 total locations, Glendora 12, Charter Oak 2, the agreement, both districts reimbursed the city 50% of the half of the locations provided. The city paid for the rest. So really the city paid for 3/4 of all the crossing guards at that time. We then, in 2019, entered into a 1-year again with the same company, and then 4 1-year extensions. Glendora has 12 again, and Charter Oak 2. As you can see, our annual cost was over $200,000 providing crossing guards. The new framework that we have been working on, we started back in November of 2022 at a joint City Council Board of Education meeting, which was held to discuss the historic relationship between the city and district. The City Council and the Board of Education reviewed and discussed a new framework of agreement that would supersede and replace all previous agreements and lay down the groundwork for continuing collaboration to benefit the Glendora community. The staff was directed to prepare a draft document for further considerations. The topics included sports fields and facilities, school resource officer, crossing guards, and library. For that agreement, capital projects, the city and school district committed to working collaboratively to identify ways in which to fund necessary capital projects for sports fields and facilities identified in the agreement. Payment arrangements will be handled on a project-by-project basis. Priority of use. The district has exclusive use and control of sports fields and facilities. The city shall have the next priority in scheduling city activities. The city and district will meet on a quarterly basis to review revenue and expenditures for all costs related to the agreement. The city will assume responsibility for the preparation of all invoicing. The city and district will develop and implement a common fee or set of fees that local nonprofit sports leagues will be required to pay to help offset maintenance costs, including water and electricity. The city and district may consider individual agreements with local nonprofit sports leagues in lieu of common fee to facilitate mutual agreements, improvements, and ongoing maintenance. The city and district will hold each other mutually indemnified. However, when the city or district is using their own activities, they will assume liability. Sports fields and facilities. The city will assume coordinating responsibilities in the use of the district sports fields and facilities included in the agreement as it related to the local nonprofit sports leagues and city activities. The aquatic center, the district remains coordinated responsibilities for the aquatic center. The city will contribute to the maintenance of the aquatic center in the manner proportionally for its use. All other facilities, the city will work to schedule and facilitate facilities used as a needed basis based on availability to be determined by a case-by-case basis. The maintenance, the city will contribute, this is new this year, the city will contribute to the maintenance costs of sports fields and facilities used to accommodate for local non-sports leagues and city activities in the manner proportionate to its use. The city will install meters to track water use of all facilities when in use by local nonprofit sports leagues and city activities. The district will install meters to track electricity use for the fields used by the local sports leagues. To fully understand the costs related to the maintenance of the sports fields, the city, as part of a 2-year pilot program, will assume complete responsibility for the landscaping maintenance of all sports fields and will work with the district to coordinate maintenance activities. Sandburg and Goddard, the north side areas of each campus will become accessible to the public beginning at 4 p.m. on school days and act as a public park unless otherwise used by the district. These areas will remain closed for public use until 4 o'clock. The tennis courts at Goddard will be open to the public from dawn to dusk unless otherwise used by the district. The tennis courts at Glendora High School will assume accessible for public after 5 p.m. on school days unless used by the district. The school resource officer program, the city will agree to provide the service of 1.6 full-time equivalent sworn officer to serve as a school resource officer for the district. The allocation of staffing resources for this program will be determined based on the operation needs of the Glendora Police Department. The city will supervise all activities of the SRO through the command structure of the Glendora Police Department. Reimbursement of the cost for this, the district agrees to reimburse the city 50% of the actual costs incurred by the city in employing the SRO during a 10-month period each fiscal year. The district will increase its reimbursement of actual costs to 75% over the next 5 years by 5% annually. The crossing guard, for now, the district has 13 locations for that. The reimbursement, the city and district will share the total cost of the crossing guard equally. Library services, the city will provide certain professional library services related to the operation of the district school library services. The district will reimburse the city by hours of service provided. And here's some progress made. The city and school district have now executed inside the 2024 MOU. The city has a landscape maintenance agreement with Glendora Unified School District, including the mowing of playing fields and the front of the schools. Our contractor is in process of hiring his staff to take that over. We're looking probably in mid-October when that would start. City is facilitating all schools and sports use of outdoor facilities and middle school gyms while communicating with the school principals and district administrative weekly, and does all our information on ActiveNet of all the leagues and school district activities, and then sends that out weekly to the principals and school district to show their site and who will be on their site. The city has hired field attendants, and we're just waiting for them to get cleared, and then we'll start overseeing the coordination of the district facilities daily. And the city will begin to install water meters at district facilities to oversee water use. And then we will setting up quarterly meetings with the district. This concludes my report. If you have any questions.
A lot in there.
All right. Couple things, John. Insurance, you said when city's going to use the facility, insurance will be theirs, and then district will they will provide. So would that be an automatic occurrence, or does the individuals or
We also have
using-
all the youth sports provide insurance to us.
Okay.
But when we're there, if something goes wrong and it's our group, the city will be providing that. And it's when it's their high school groups or their middle school groups, it will be theirs.
Theirs. Okay. That's automatic, so
Yes.
you don't have to do new paperwork and it's done like annual or what have you. And then you said also contributing, contributing to the maintenance cost in lieu of proportional to use.
Yeah, we are right now, we have met with all the leagues.
Right.
We are working on agreements because some leagues will say, hey, we do all our own mowing and fixing of our fields. Do we have to be charged a fee? Others will say, great, here you go, you take over.
Right.
And we then charge a fee that way. So those are all, we met with all of them. And we're working on those to what, the ones that are using the turf fields are a little more expensive than the ones that are using grass fields, and depending on how big your leagues are and that.
Okay. And then lastly, gyms.
Yes.
I know the city's purchased the Zambonis or the court.
I don't know if
Machine.
they have
No.
used theirs.
Right.
We're not in there until, mid-December, late December, and then start. We have not made any contact. I know that Ann meets monthly
Right.
with the youth sports, and the school district usually has a member there, their head of maintenance. That might be a question that we can ask.
Is that
Um,
something that the city or can
We
train them
have,
on to use?
well, we have talked about taking that over too, and maybe going
Right.
up on Fridays after school and cleaning them. We didn't really want to get into that
Right,
yet,
I know, yeah.
hoping that they would do that.
Right.
But if it, for the safety of our youth league, something needs to be done.
Right. I could help volunteer and drive it. So, all right, thank you.
This is a long time in coming. I'm sure it's been a lot of hard work and maybe a little bit of relief to finally get something accomplished, because it looked like the city was definitely overdoing everything in relationship to what the school district is. My question is, has the school district change of board been a help in getting this done? Has that, or what has changed in allowing this to really come to fruition? Because for the longest time, it's always been.
I think they had multiple changeover in personnel of their business department.
Yeah.
And so every time we would be working with one person, that person all of a sudden left. And it wasn't a priority of the next person coming in. And by the time we got to them, we were working and they left. I think that happened 3 times, 4 times. And so it was always like, we're behind the 8 ball. And so they knew, I think with new board members, that was a big priority with school board members, and it became, Moises and the district worked very well together. In fact, on next Tuesday, when we go to council, the school district is asking for $2 million towards the pool complex. So we'll see what our council says there.
I guess my question to you is, with all of these changes and with all of the additional responsibility, are you guys going to be able to not necessarily fund it, but have enough people to do the job that realistically needs to get done and that you would like to do to show
I
what
don't,
needs to be, what has to happen?
I think people think since the city's taken over that their facility at an elementary school that has ruts and holes is going to be a turf-looking field of turf
Right.
grass looking. That's not going to happen. All we are doing is mowing, mow and blow kind of thing. We're going to really need to sit down with them to fix sprinklers and to go over coverage and that as this goes along. We are very nervous or whatever for our field attendants. Poor Ann is acting as a field attendant now, and she's all over every weekend and during the week between soccer going and softball or baseball, whatever, and putting out fires of this person won't get on the, get off their field when they're not supposed to be there. So we're going to meet as a staff with internally with PD and stuff. So if our field attendant goes to a site, will not be just eaten up and there's no help for that person. So that's something that we're working on. We toured the Sandburg and Goddard to see where all the fencing is. That's been a whole new thing for those two campuses that are now fenced in. And people that used to be able to get up there aren't able to get to their places, a lot of ADA little stuff. So we're working those out as they come up at Goddard mainly. Some of them, Sandburg, literally, it's never going to be ADA accessible.
Right.
And that. So those are things that they look more at us and say, oh, great, you're taking over, fix it. And we're like, we're not the fixers. We're just trying to help out to be, to make it better for everyone.
Yeah, that's where I was kind of leading towards, is the fact that now the city is the savior, right? When in all responsibility, it's not. But that's what everybody's going to say, and that's what everybody's going to think. So I hope that the additional responsibility that is thrust upon the city is one that is manageable and not thrusting you guys in a way that is taking you to things that are more important to what you do on a daily basis, for the amount of money that the school district probably can or cannot afford.
The one big thing, and I think that's a big help to open their eyes, is when Ann sends every week that this is on your facility. So there should be no surprises. Their janitor should know, their principal knows, and the district office knows that. And a lot of it is the schools, up at Pony Colt, the high school is doing fall ball this year. So all three of the freshman team, the JV team, and the varsity team are up there. So it's not just Pony Colt, it's also all high school, and then the high school's using us for down at our place for flag football and stuff. So it's a joint thing, but it's not always just us. They always saw it as we're users and abusers. And we were like, no, it's a two-way street. So I think that's opened up their eyes. Even though in this agreement, there's really nothing but the pool at the high school, they're still taking care of all their own grass and facilities kind of thing. It's just the pool that we are in a share there at the high school.
Very informative. I appreciate the information just from the history standpoint of what's transpired to this point, and I hope that this becomes the foundation of making things better.
So previously, was it just sort of the Wild West? Like people would go to use a field and someone else was using it and everyone's just kind of like.
We had schedules where what happens, soccer is 1,400 people.
Yeah.
And last year didn't do us any good because we were building Pompeii. So we shifted football up to Fink. This year, we're back to kind of normal, where in years, we always gave 2 nights to softball and soccer had their 3 nights. Well, some coaches in soccer are new, and the division head of that, let's just say boys 10, doesn't tell his saying, hey, you need to sign up for times for these times to practice. They just said, hey, go practice. So he goes and sees lights attract people. He goes and he's in the middle of 4 softball teams practicing. And the softball people are calling saying, hey, this guy won't leave. And they're running in between our girls. So Ann goes out there, and he wasn't very nice to her, gets in her face. And
Was this like,
last week,
oh, shoot.
you know, and this happens a lot. Ann is a pretty tough cookie,
Bulletproof vest on.
you know.
I think, Mallory, what you were asking is prior to this, back in the day, we had a duplicate copy of the 3, and John would do that, and he collected all the information with the president of each league, and he would go to the school district and turn it in on behalf of the leagues. That then changed, and they had the leagues going directly to the school district and utilizing an application called Facilitron. And that worked for a couple years, and I think the lady at the school district who really understood it best then retired, and there were some challenges with utilizing Facilitron. Romero and I go into Facilitron to book out Goddard and Sandburg for Glendora Youth Basketball. So that's the application they were utilizing to rent out their field. So the American President, National President, Pony, soccer, who's utilizing all the fields, would rent out our application to use Finkbeiner and Pompeii, and then they would have to go to the school district to do the Facilitron. Now, all the leagues are going through us. So we've Amanda and then admin staff here created new applications. We have one for Glendora Unified School District with all the school district fields we're eligible to use. And then we have one for our city fields. And so the leagues now filled that out. We're accepting those applications and taking both insurance for both the school district and the city. So we're kind of the holder of all the documents and putting that in ActiveNet. And then Megan has set it up to where every Monday, it's an automatic report. It's not something I'm doing every Monday. They're already scheduled, and then it's getting sent out. So La Fetra is seeing, oh, soccer's here. And then Janet Walziak, the business services superintendent for the school district, has met with all of her admin staff and said, this is how we're doing it. If you have a back to school night, if there's a special event, you need to reach out to Annie Warner. And their staff has been doing a great job. We have this event. I block it off. I notify soccer. I notify whoever, whatever league it is, Little League or National, saying, hey, it's back to school night at Sandburg. You cannot be there. And so it seems to be working well. It's not a perfect system, but as we work out the kinks, but so far it's been working well.
Yeah, that was
In years past, what happened also was the school district only wanted to meet, or it was mainly the secretaries with Ann or myself, because they knew we met with the leagues. They did not want to deal with the league president. That person's doing work. He's here and there.
Yeah.
They always would call us and say, hey, we know that soccer's going to be here. You need to tell them not to show up because we're having a picnic on the grounds for tonight.
Yeah.
So we would call soccer and say, hey, do not show up at Cullen because Mrs. Bonner will eat you alive. And we would have sometimes a team that, because it all trickles down, and by that guy didn't get called, he would show up and Miss Bonner would be like, no, you're not here. They're not supposed to be. So we would work. Now it goes a different way and it's worked out. So we're changing it as we are going. This is all new.
And this year, we actually, like for soccer, for example, the school district is allowing use of Williams Elementary School. So this season right now, yes. So they're utilizing Williams for practice. We have more fields than we've ever had. They said, ask, and they said, and they approved it.
That was again in conversation with the board. Mr. Clifford was one that said, because we told him that field used to have 3-4 fields.
Yeah.
And we were told we couldn't use it. And we used to in the past. And it was about their daycare and fencing.
Right.
They worked that out and said, it's open to you guys. And I think that's the handshake of, they see us helping on them and they're trying to help us on the other side.
That in itself right there is a perfect example of the successfulness of what this is, and that's the way it should be. There's so many open areas that have been condensed to where only certain areas have been now overused. And to your point, now they're overrun. Whereas if you spread them out, they have more,
Yeah,
less
like
use.
Whitcomb, we stopped using it for
Yeah.
this. Their field was so bad, it was, we would be out there spraying and we would call and say, you can't use it. There's holes, there's this, and we don't have the staff to come in. It's school district property. We need to find another site, kind of thing. And so they're working at that. They have, Anthony's the new maintenance. He's been here a couple years, learning how we work, how they work, kind of thing.
So my next $60 million question is Sutherland.
You know, Sutherland is still an area that we have not crossed that. I know the two Little League fields are in shambles. Their biggest thing is it's not ADA accessible for the school. None of their sites are personally, especially like San Brigant, Goddard baseball. But that was always the sticking point. So we have not asked that, you know, we were hoping National would be able to go just to the big field.
Right.
Because they took that away. But I don't know that question.
Okay.
That's good. Anytime there's a clear, at least for parents and coaches and volunteers and stuff, if there's only one person that you have to go to, it makes at least, I mean, I know it's a lot, but like, at least then you know everything. They can't say, oh, someone else told me. It doesn't matter. I'm the one in charge.
And it's funny because our leagues that are down at Pompeii, we've hired the field attendants. They've been super. They have good relationships with the president and their boards. You know, we had to get through some things for Lassie. But the leagues are trying to work together. It's just sometimes now it's year round. Softball used to play and baseball at the time and stop. Now they have their fall ball and whatever, and they're almost as big as their regular seasons. And they want on the fields and you go, no, it's football now. Well, why can't I be there? Why can't I be over here? They're not using this little section. Well, football, everybody has to be carded to get on their facilities. And they're like, no, we have it. You already had your season. And they're the ones that are in season. So we tell softball, no, you can't. You can be here on Sundays when football's not, but today you can't. And some of those guys, their coaches don't want us, you know, why can't I do that? I pay taxes. Well, yes, but it's not yours. It's theirs turn. So those are things we're working.
You have staff on Sundays as well?
Oh yeah,
At
7
Pompeii?
days a week.
Yeah, 7?
Yep.
Yeah. Wow.
And that was one of the things that Adam and the hierarchy, when we made that presentation of saying, okay, you're spending 7 million on this facility. We need staff down there that are going to watch it and protect it.
Right.
Nice.
And that's what's really, really helped. Because it would have been a zoo.
Yeah.
Well, and there's a learning curve for the public too.
Yeah.
You know, like realizing that it's not the Wild West and you can't just show up. Someone is watching and someone saying, no, you don't have the field. And then after a couple seasons, they'll learn, oh, I can't just push my way in and take over. Well, that was a lot of work. Well done.
All right, can we get a motion to receive the report?
I make a motion?
I'll second it.
We have a motion made by Commissioner Kyunjin, seconded by Vice Chair Gerber. I'll conduct an oral roll call vote. Commissioner Burrow?
Yes.
Commissioner Kyunjin?
Yes.
Vice Chair Gerber?
Yes.
Chair Sally?
Yes.
Motion carries 4-0.
Closing comments. Closing comments for you? Yeah.
No, thanks for all the reports tonight. A lot of hard work. And please attend the strenuous 0.5K, this 0.5K walk for Glendora Community Services Foundation. See you there. Have a great month next month and see you soon. Thanks. Bye.
Oh, me. Yes, thanks to everyone who was here and left and for the wonderful presentations and very informative night. And can we get tickets the day of Like, okay, because I'm working the kids' party circuit on Saturday, and so I don't know if we'll be back in time, but I would like to walk up the street. So, yeah.
I just want to go back to our public comment. Is this something that we need to review and make a recommendation to city council for their approval? And if that is the case, can we get more information around the use of that location, what it's been used for, how it should be used, what other ideas there are to make a determination? Do we have, is that something that we need to discuss?
We will bring this up with our our city manager and that to see where that would go. And if we need to bring it back, then push it ahead. With the Rock House, I believe
Yes,
it's the
yeah.
Rock House.
Right.
Yes. And the one biggest thing, it's not ADA accessible. So I don't know if we can lease it out for what they want if it's not ADA accessible. Those are the questions that I don't know those answers. So that will be something that we'll have to figure out.
Will we send any type of response to
Yeah,
her?
we will.
Let her know that
work
we
on
acknowledge.
It's working on it and that. She's a user of us. She has used us. It's mainly for her homeschool participants. And so she knows us and calls us and that. So she's used us for a while.
I just want to make sure that the comment doesn't go on.
No, we won't.
Identified and
We have her
noticed
paperwork
because-
and
yeah,
that.
okay.
She's been working on this for a while. I'm assuming the city manager will push it to the Trails Council to come through that as a body.
Okay.
I think.
Okay.
Maybe
Yeah, I
we'll
just-
learn next week.
Yeah. No, I was just good. I mean, there's a lot of information in here. She spent some time, so I just wanted to be sure that if there's something further we needed to do at this moment, then we did, but it sounds like it's still in the infant stage. Other than that, yeah, great meeting tonight. Lots of good information. Again, proud of the teams for Glendora program, all the fun information. Looking forward to the fall. It's good to be back in session. And again, happy the heat has gone and we can start moving into some fall weather. Yes. Next Thursday, we'll have our workshop forum. Looking forward to that too.
Yeah. And just remember, that is at the Teen Center. That next Thursday's meeting is at the Teen Center.
What's the
Yes.
menu, Meg?
Chipotle.
So 5 o'clock, right, for dinner? And then 6 o'clock, the meeting will start.
Thank you all for coming and thanks to all the presentations. And thank you for watching me fumble through this and I appreciate your support, everyone. And I'll echo David's comments. I'm looking forward to the fall events as well, the cooler temperatures, and I just enjoy all the things that the city puts on, and with the nice crisp air in your face, it feels great. So looking forward to that. Do you have any closing comments?
No, not this time.
All right then. Well, then at, what does that say? 7:53, we'll call the meeting closed.